Alright, hello guys. It is September 29th today, and today we are getting ready to go to Huntsville, Alabama for another Battle Roads with BossGod hammers. Today, however, last night Kooper came in, staying at this place, and ran up on a curb and punctured a tire, so Kooper had to get new tires put in this morning, and that was sort of pricey, but so as it turns out, actually my mother's going to be carrying me today, so therefore we're not going to have videos in cars or anything like that. I'll just come back up here to my room and give a summary of what went on, so that's all we'll have today. I guess that's kind of all that went on in the previous video anyway, just no looking at my steering wheel. But we do have Jasmine. She will not be going today though. She's gonna stay home today, and I'm probably gonna flip like 20% on crushing hammers as a result. Anyway, did not change very much at all from the deck list. The only thing I changed, I mentioned in the last week, that I really liked Level Ball, so I went up to 4 on that, and I dropped my Pokemon Communication. It'll make it a little bit harder to get out Aggron, but I value that, I'd rather have 2 Level Ball in the opening hand. I'd like to almost always have a Level Ball in the opening hand. It lets me get out Larons. If I can get out 2 Larons in the second turn, I'm clicking going good. And then once I get 1 heavy ball, then I can get out. I can junk hunt that and get out as many Aggrons as I need. And if you think about two heavy ball and 3 Aggron, that's I guess sort of 5 outs to Aggron. And really, I only need 1 Aggron to bounce between 2 Larons. So I think that should be sufficient. I was having energy trouble in some test games last night, but I didn't have any energy trouble with 7 energy last week, so I'm just gonna assume that that was, I don't know. Hopefully I just won't have energy trouble this week. We still got the 2 Super Rod. I thought about dropping one of my 4 ofs to a 3 of and keeping the communication, but ultimately I realized that, if I get PCOM and Level Ball in the opening hand, that only gets me 1 guy. So, 16 Pokemon, it's right on the cusp of what I like to have for communication. I think 15 is the bare minimum. 16, 17 is okay, and 18 and up communication is definitely a solid idea. Deck sheet is in color today since I had access to a better printer. But anyway, that'll be it. So I'll take notes on the match, and hopefully, I probably need to take better notes because I may have to wait a while before I do the recap. But anyway, we'll be back in a moment with the recap of today's Battle Road. I'm guessing probably 4 rounds today. Could be 5 again, but I'm thinking 4. That's what it was for Spring Battle Roads, which I did terrible at and went 1 and 3. Yeah, I went 1 and 3 with the outdated Zekrom electric deck. So we're gonna be trying to do better today, and actually going 1 and 3 would be fine, especially since there should be some players from last week there. So my deck's kind of not really a secret anymore. I mean, as far as that I'm playing it and how I play it. So there could be some information disadvantage there, but whatever. We're just in it to have fun and get some play points. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Actually, in a second. All right, time for a recap of BossGod Hammer's farewell tournament. It's gonna be being retired after today. Of course, I'll still play it online and whatnot, but it's going to be Blastoise Keldeo from here on out. Next tournament I play in will be probably, well, I guess not counting pre-release, will probably be Cities if we get any of those. So let's see how we did today. Here's the key player. I guess Zoro was not really a key player, but he's such a weird addition, I figured I would feature him anyway. So let's see. Round 1. We'll do the cards on the screen again also. Also, this vid is not HD since there's no driving in cars segment, guys. Sorry, there's not going to be any driving in cars today. No penguins either. There's not going to be penguins. Super promise. So round 1 versus Randall with Mewtwo Eels. I opened out with a Aeron versus Thundershock Tynamo, yeah. And he went first, and I was a little bit afraid of a dunk, but didn't happen. I had a Shuriken in. I think all he did first turn was he benched took a long first turn actually. Took like a 2-minute turn. He did so much stuff. I think he played a Juniper, got out a Thundurus with a lightning. Yeah, Thundurus with a lightning and passed, so I didn't get Donkey. Had a Shuriken in. I think I already had a Lairon and some other stuff in hand. I did not have a Sableye. I already had I already had a Switch in hand and a Dark Energy, so I just needed to try to get a Level Ball or a Sableye. So I just went with the Shuriken, trying to get that, and whiffed it. So I had to pass. So Aron somehow stayed alive again. He actually had to attach DCE to retreat Tynamo, and then proceeded to charge with Thundurus. I think I top deck a Hammer, play it, and get heads, so that sort of stalls him a turn on getting Disaster Volt going on. And then I play the N. I get a Sableye off the end, but no switch. So for whatever reason, he actually captures my Sableye, retreats his Thundurus into a Mewtwo, and X-Balls it for 60. I don't know why people like to X-Ball Sableye for 60, but apparently they do. And that was, however, after he ended me into 3 Darks, I think an N, a Random Receiver, and a Zorua. So I attach the Dark, play the N, and it proves to be a pretty darn good N, because within the next couple turns I get out 3 Lairons and 3 Sableyes. So my Crushing Hammer off the DCE of Mewtwo, and that sets him back quite a ways. And he's forced to resort to using Thundurus as an attacker, which versus Hammers discards energy a little bit too quick. So I pretty much just hammer it into oblivion. He does set up 2 Eels, and he's getting a Raikou ready, but yeah, he builds up his Raikou, but he played a total of like 3 Junipers to get that set up, and at some point I had, like, over the course of 2 turns, I had 5 toppling wins, so that's 15 cards, really 17 counting your draws, gone in 2 turns, so he wasn't able to come back from that, and I got a 4-6 victory out of it. I think he knocked out 2 Sableyes. So, moving into round 2 versus Thomas, and I think him and his mother are the ones who sort of main the league there, so I guess I should get to know them if I'm going to be going to that league in the spring. And he had a very interesting Empoleon deck. His featured Aerodactyl, with heavy counts of Old Amber and Twist Mountain, and it's pretty good because Empoleon, one of Empoleon's biggest hurdles is that 120 damage cap. I mean, 120 for 1 is still amazing, but just getting that, the Aerodactyl gives you a little bit extra damage. Like, for example, with 2 Aerodactyls in play, he can one-shot an Aggron. So, and it also makes Darkrai's Eviolite pretty much worthless because, not many people play Plus Power, since it's not as easily accessible right now due to Junk Arm. When Skyla comes back, it'll be easily accessible. But for right now, Aerodactyl having that permanent plus power, Terrakion just, yeah, if you've got an Aerodactyl in play, Terrakion's going to be able to retaliate and KO your Darkrai for sure, or whatever else you have if it's fighting weak. So anyway, but because he didn't have any energy acceleration, I felt pretty okay about it. Started out with a Sableye to a Piplup after he mulliganed twice. I did get Level Ball in the opening hand, so I was pretty glad I put that 4th... Oh, I don't have it out. Well, there it is. I was pretty glad I put my 4th Level Ball in there. Didn't really miss my PCOM much at all. And the Super Rods were pretty handy as well. So I'm glad I didn't try to cut either of those. So I kept having the Junk Hunt just for the Level Ball, though. Had difficulty getting Crushing Hammers out for what... Oh, this is why. So yeah, had a little bit of a slow setup. Wasn't able to get 2 Level Balls playable on the first couple turns. So I random receivered with a Juniper and N in my 10-card hand already and got Shuriken, which is what I wanted. Because I already had some stuff, but I didn't want to shuffle it in. I just wanted to dig for some hammers pretty much. He put a second energy on his Primplup actually to prepare it for getting hammered, and shortly got a turn 3, maybe turn 4 Empoleon out, and he was able to do enough damage with Attack Command to knock out Sableyes. And I think he had a blend on a Piplup that got enhanced hammered away. I tried to catcher stall Aerodactyls, but he was always able to get it's only got a 1 retreat cost, which is one of the reasons that I really like that Aerodactyl. and he was just always able to retreat it. Probably the critical turn was when I junk hunted, grabbed a crushing hammer and a random receiver, and then he ended back in, and I don't think I got another crushing hammer out for the rest of the game. If I could have, probably would have been very different. But I got 4 crushing hammer. They're all on the deck pretty much, and I couldn't draw into one of them. And because my random receiver got shuffled back in as well, I wasn't able to try to get a supporter off that. But he played fantastic. He catcher KO'd my Larons with attack command, and I think he even had enough at one point to do 140 and kill Aggron. So I just wasn't able to stop the bleeding. Zorua came down to try a paralyzing gaze, although I think I wound up going with Confuse Ray, and I did hit the confusion. I think the only energy on his field was 1 on his Empoleon, which has a 2 retreat cost. But he was able to top deck a switch and get out of it. Don't think an extra turn or 2 would have mattered anyway. But he had an excellent game plan for me, and down to 1-1. I think he wound up going on to take 3rd place, which I was really happy for him because he said he just wanted to get one of these, and I got it last weekend. So I think he got 4th last weekend too. So I sort of stole it from him, not really, but so I was glad you can actually really see the nice Stitch holofoil there. Of course, there's freaking glare, but anyway, I was happy he wound up getting one of those. So round 3 versus James. I think this was the guy. I didn't give you guys a report for my Spring Battle Roads. This was the guy. He had a Quad Inte at Spring Battle Roads in the same place. Oh, I forgot that too. I guess we can interject here. Xerxes, they apparently forgot about the Battle Road, and they had a MTG pre-release going on for what is it, Return to Ravnica? Is that the set that came out today? And so the place was double booked, and they had to scramble, and they found us a place a couple of suites down. It was like some sort of, I don't know what it was, but anyway, it was a very spacious room. This was probably the most space I've ever had in a tournament. There was like 3 yards between each table. Yeah, 3 yards, not 3 feet, 3 yards, like almost 10 feet between each table, and each table was like really roomy and cozy. It was a place for like 6 people, and each table was probably about a yard, between you and your opponent. So it was plenty of room too. Very impressed. Unfortunately, that's not the normal location, but it'd be nice if we had some more tournaments in that place instead of the store. It's a little bit more cramped in there. But anyway, so that worked out perfectly fine. We kind of got delayed a little bit, but in exchange we got kind of a better venue, like definitely a better venue as a result. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, on to round 3, and this is one of the decks that it's close to an auto loss. If they get set up, it's an auto loss. Garbodor, is bad enough for this deck. Of course, I do have Tool Scrapper, but in order to be able to play Tool Scrapper, do I have Tool Scrapper handy on the bottom of the deck so I don't have to flash it up? Yes, I do. But in order to play Tool Scrapper, well, Maker's not going to be able to read this. Anyway, discards 2 tools in play. In order to be able to play Tool Scrapper, you got to be able to play items, and Zebstrika's Disconnect. Ordinarily Zebstrika's not that good because it gets KO'd really easily, but this deck does not take knockouts. Why can't I talk? This deck does not take knockouts. So Zebstrika, once it starts disconnecting, it's not going to stop, and it's just going to kill everything. The disconnect effect is on the player, so it's not like it's not like Articuno's paralysis, where if you knock them out with it, the lock breaks. No, not with Zebstrika. And even if you catcher him or knock him out or something, well, you can't catcher while you're disconnected. But pretty much it makes it so that Garbodor can't get catchered or Tool Scrappered. Ugh. So no matter what, I had to prevent a disconnect. That was the only way. If I don't prevent a disconnect, I do have little Zorua here to try to paralyze and gaze. That's actually one of the main reasons he's in here for. Actually, as you can see, the ceiling fan rotating. That's one of the main reasons he's in here for, is that flip a coin on heads they're paralyzed for 1 energy. If I can do that, I can get an opening while Substrike is paralyzed, assuming, of course, they don't have Switch, because they can still play trainers just fine. Items just fine, rather. But, if I can paralyze it a turn, break that disconnect lock, that's pretty much all I got going for me. That's the only way out. If Zoro were to get, what is it? No, it's not Mega Shot. That was what was on Manectric EX. Whatever his snipe for 80, like Raiko's Bolt is. His does 80. Substrika's. If Zoro were to get picked off, well, I can't super rod it because I'm getting disconnected. So, although I guess if he would have had to have done that first, because that would have broken his disconnect lock, obviously. But anyway, as for how the match actually went, not the Theorymon, I hate this matchup. So he had a lead Blitzel, the agility one, whichever one that is, and I had double air on, so I didn't get quite as lucky with Sableye starts today. Let's see, I think I got Zorua in the first couple turns, so I went ahead and threw him down because I knew I would need him to negate a disconnect at some point, and I didn't really feel like he would pick up on, Zorua kind of being there to beat out Zebstrika if it ever came into play. Definitely my saving grace in this was that he drew horribly. He didn't even draw dead. He drew like non-lit, like was never alive is how he drew. And so he was like doing like rigorous, like super rigorous shuffles, like way more shuffles than you normally see. Definitely more riffles. I think at some point he even pile shuffled during the game. Just in the two, he did it quick and then just like 2 piles. But I was a little bit leery of. Crap! I hope I don't get stalled out again like round 3 of the previous Battle Road. But the thing is, in order to disconnect, you need 2 lightning energy, and in order to get 2 lightning energy, you gotta be able to keep an energy in play for at least 1 turn. So I knew if I could just keep him hammered down, then I would be able to avoid the disconnect. I saw he had a Trubbish. He level ball for it and didn't immediately bench it, but as soon as I saw a Zebstrika, I knew it had to be Zebstrika Garbodor. So eventually he threw it down, and I was like, all right, catcher that. So it got catchered immediately. I was able to get some toppling winds off. I got probably about 3 off before the catcher on Trubbish, and he went ahead and evolved, attached Rescue Scarf. So now I can't toppling wind anymore. But in my 10-card hand, I've got Tool Scrapper, and I don't think he has any energy on his Blitzel, which at some point gets evolved into a Zebstrika. I'm not actually sure when that happened. And I was like, please don't play in, please don't play in. I have my Tool Scrapper, please don't play in, and he ends. No! But I draw Tool Scrapper and Devolution Spray off my end. I got 1 copy of Tool Scrapper in the deck. I draw it out after shuffling in my 10-card hand, so I was ecstatic. He doesn't get a disconnect off that turn. If I were him, well, I guess he'll probably try to lock the tools as soon as possible. Or lock the abilities as soon as possible. But so I'm able to scrap the tool off and pull some more toppling winds. He does get his Zebstrika with 2 lightning. At that point, though, his deck was starting to get kind of low. I might have been able to just, put up aggro on the big body and, deck him out with that. But although if it had went to time, then that would have I would have lost there. So I get Zoro ready in case he top decks a switch, because he's got 2 lightning. That means, and I'm for whatever reason not getting into my hammers. Yeah, I did some pretty good flips on. He had hammers too. Now that I think about it, yeah, he did. But he went like 0 for 3 on them, and he didn't have Sableye to use them. So he was not as fortunate with hammers as I was. I went about. I probably got 4 out of 6, or did I even miss one? I don't even think I missed one. I think I got 4 or 5. But despite that, he did get Zebstrika with 2 lightning. But I hit another toppling wind and discarded what he knew to be his last switch. So he had Garbodor stuck active. Wasn't going to be able to retreat it. Not with me enhanced hammer. I think he actually attached a prism. I'm not sure what he had the prism in there for, but since it's only Rainbow for basics, I don't know what else he played. But I enhanced hammered that away. And he ultimately just scooped because he knew Garbodor was going to be stuck active for the rest of the game. I had Tool Scrapper. Of course, I junk hunted it back at the turn I played it, so it stays around. He knew he wasn't going to be able to lock my ability, so he just scooped. At the time, I was thinking, if he had not scooped and went to time, but then I realized it was 6-6, he never actually took a knockout. So what would have happened would, how it works is when time is called, the person whose turn it is turn 0. They finish their turn. Then there's turn 1. Then there's turn 2, and then there's turn 3. At the end of turn 3, not the start of what would have been turn 4. Otherwise, I would have won round 3 in Birmingham last weekend. If it's still tied at that point, I think it may have used to, just shuffle up and play a sudden death game, but I believe what happens is the current game just continues, and it's essentially sudden death. Next prize wins. But since he wasn't going to have the capacity to take a prize, and I wasn't, or I obviously was not either. Actually, I guess I theoretically could have just sat there and confused Ray 10 times, and that would have knocked out Garbodor for the win. That would have been funny. But instead, I just probably would have just decked him out. But he scooped, so that moved me on to 2-1. And round 4, and I forgot this guy's name, but he had another Garbodor variant, so I was very happy that I kept Tool Scrapper in there. I didn't encounter Garbodor at all last weekend, but I've encountered it today, that's for sure. So open with Sableye versus Terrakion. Just normal Terrakion, full art, but it was a normal Terrakion. Went first. I had a hammer, but since I went first, I wasn't actually able to play anything. I don't even think I had a level ball, so I just actually was content to confuse Ray. And did get heads, so I was able to confuse him. But having that hammer, I felt pretty okay. Terrakion decks don't typically... Well, I guess I should have... I shouldn't speak too soon. But anyway, he pretty much got an energy drop every turn. Once he dropped Terrakion EX and a Trubbish, I knew it was going to be Terrakion plus EX and Garbodor. And the big advantage there, it doesn't have energy acceleration, and it doesn't have Zebstrika to lock trainers. Or items, rather. So it was pretty much came down to a hammer war. And also, the big thing in this matchup is, of course, like what happened in the previous game, Tool Scrapper. So I was able to keep his energy out of play with Crushing Hammer until he ended me. And then I got into a little bit of a drought on hammers. I wasn't able to get them. Sort of like what happened in round 2. I was going pretty good, and then an end shuffled in some cards, and then I wasn't able to draw them back out that I needed. And he kept creeping energy on Terrakion EX. I don't think he missed an energy drop all game. So, and then he was able to get out Garbodor and a Tool. It was like a turn or two before I was about to start dropping Agrons. So eventually I get to actually search through my deck with a level ball or something. And of course, guess what's prized? Yep, my only copy of Tool Scrapper. So that means that Garbodor is going to keep his Garbotoxin active. Toppling Wind, I'm not going to be able to use Toppling Wind all game, and if this deck can't use Toppling Wind, it's a very sad deck. So, if a lesser man, or whatever, probably would have just scooped at that point, realizing that, Tool Scrapper's prized, I'm kind of screwed. But that's just not something Kooper does. Kooper fights on to the end and never admits defeat until it's defeat time. So, especially not when I've got, Sableye, Crushing Hammer, and he has no energy acceleration. Yeah. It's a long shot, but it's a shot. So, basically, I'm going to have to deck him out manually with him drawing one card a turn, never being able to use Toppling Wind at all. On top of that, I figured, this is going to take a long time. It's probably going to go to time. So as I explained a second ago, or a couple minutes ago, what would have ended up happening would be it would go to time, and then 3 turns play out, whatever. At that point, it was still 6-6. So since we were tied, we just continued playing the game until someone lost or took a prize. So basically my MO was, alright, I cannot allow him to take a prize. If he takes one prize, this is going to go to time, almost certainly. Game's going to be over because he's going to have the lead. That meant that if he pulled off one pump-up smash, one land crush, anything, or even two rock tumbles with Terrakion EX on the same Sableye, that was going to be game. So let's see. So it's pretty much came down to a big war of hammer flips. There were several times he had that Terrakion stuck active for almost the whole game. Several turns I left the Terrakion EX with 2 energy. So if he pulled a switch and manual attachment, that would be it. But he did play Super Scoop Up, but he went 0 for 3. He probably should use my dice. My dice seems to be luckier. Including one where he did have that 2 energy on it, and he could have pump up smashed for what would have essentially been the game. He also played a lot of energy retrievals and super rods and silence, so that's probably why he didn't miss an energy drop. But he couldn't hit the switches on the turns he had 2 energy in play. Eventually he did play a switch, but I just catched him right back up. I mean, it was probably a good idea on his part to try to conserve switches for, when he could have pulled off a pump-up smash. But I was able to hammer him. I got just enough luck with hammers. Despite all his energy recursion, I hit him when I needed him, when I had to have him. And eventually I just ran through all the energy in his deck. So I guess that means that deck probably runs 11, 12 energy maybe. And I don't know how much of it got put back in his deck and back in his hand. So I probably had the Crushing Hammer upwards of 20 times. No lie. And so I probably hit 20 out of 35, we'll say. I probably got more heads than I did tails. I did double heads in one turn. I double tails in one turn. I think I triple tails in several turns actually when I just drew one, as well as the as junk hunting one. But the last couple turns were just draw pass for both of us. Actually wound up with a 32 card hand by the time everything was said and done with. Yeah, about the last 5 turns were just draw pass, draw pass. I could have theoretically decked out as well, but I think he played a Juniper or 2 trying to dig for switch. See, Skyla would have dug for the switch right there. But anyway, so he Junipered twice, and I probably still would have been fine because I did have Super Rod and, Junk Hunt for Super Rod. If I absolutely had to, I could just retreat between 2 Sableye. That discards a Dark Energy, and Junk Hunt and put that energy at the discard to retreat back in the deck. So, and then just attach, and then attach, retreat, I could have just kept doing that to potentially keep myself in the game indefinitely if need be. I also had an in, but that would have given him a couple more turns as well. I think the game actually did end before time was called, which was good because he thought it went to sudden death, and I correctly thought that it just continued with the current game, so I'm glad we didn't have any sort of dispute there. But so obviously I would have won in the end if we had infinite time. So yeah, that was another 6-6 win, and move up to 3-1. So I still have an outside chance of maybe making it into making the top 4 and getting some more championship points. And round 5 versus Geo, spelled like Geodude. And he kind of had what I consider to be this deck's, brother deck or sister deck. I guess Aggron's really manly, so this has to be the brother deck. So it's Geo, right? So like Star Force. So I guess we'll call it the brother deck of this deck, which is instead of Aggron Sableye, it's Shiftry Sableye. Shiftry has, you probably see it on the screen now, the Giant Fan ability for when he evolves. On heads, you get to send one of your opponent's guys back in the deck. So it's very disruptive. It doesn't aim to mill, it aims to more sort of bench your opponent out. Just get rid of all their stuff in play and win that way. However, I draw absolutely terribly in this. I tell him before the game, I think we kind of got similar decks. This should be fun. And it was fun seeing him operate his deck. I didn't get a Sableye out until like turn 4. I don't think I junk hunted a single time the whole game, so you can probably guess that means I lost. The big difference, though, is he did play Darkrai. I considered playing Darkrai, but turns out I don't have a Dark Patch, as I think I mentioned last one of these. So that definitely gave him an advantage, being able to junk hunt for Dark Patches. Pretty much made my hammer stupid, although I don't know if he played multiple Dark Patch or not. But and also Darkrai, of course, gives you the option to take KOs. But I just couldn't find space in it. I decided to dedicate myself to full mill. I had a full bench at one point, but like I said, I never got the chance to junk hunt. If I had, I could just junk hunt for my level balls, which I could use to keep getting Sableye in play. But I didn't get the chance to junk hunt those. So he continually fanned me down to 2 in play, and I think it was just 2 Aerons. He was pretty smart. He kept shuffling the Sableyes in. I guess shuffling in the Agrons wouldn't have been a bad idea either, since those need time to evolve and get up to Aggron to Toppling Wind. But it definitely made absolutely sure that I couldn't junk hunt. I think Aggron was stuck active and did not be active the entire my initial Aeron just evolved into Aggron, and he just sat there. I couldn't draw my switches. None of the 4 just wanted to come to me, I guess. So he fanned away one of my Aerons in play, and then he just Night Speared for the game. So that was a 6-5, and I wound up going 3-2, which, considering this is the second weekend, and I figured people would be more prepared for this matchup. That's pretty much about what I was expecting. Dropped one more game than I did in the previous weekend, so I'm pretty fine with that. Glad we got to play 5 rounds. And I guess the best thing was I didn't have to play Darkrai Hydreigon again. I hate playing that deck with this deck. So let's see. The decks I faced were Shiftry Sableye, which was a lot of fun. That will definitely be used on TCGO. I might also see about working Darkrai into this deck. As I mentioned, it's not going to be played in tournaments anymore, but not in real life. But I'll of course be playing it on TCGO. It's probably going to become one of my favorite decks on TCGO. You got such a positive reception. Shifter Sableye, Terracotta EX, Garbodor, Garbodor's Abstrika, Polian Aerodactyl, which I kind of want to make that one too. That looked like a really fun deck to play. And just your generic Mewtwo wheels. So no Rayquaza Electric, no Hydreigon. I'm sure Hydreigon got played, probably won, but I'm not too sure about that. But anyway, I think that will do it. So Battle Roads. Got my victory cup. It is stamped. Can you read that? Maybe. Is this macro? No, this is macro. It is stamped 2012. Ooh, that looks good, doesn't it? 2012 autumn. So that's really cool. I'm glad the guy I played in the second round, I'm glad he got one too. Because I'm probably going to be coming to his league in this next spring. So that's good. And I gotta say, BossGod Hammers had a pretty good run at Battle Roads. It went, a total of 7-3? Yeah, 7-3. So did pretty well. Is that over 50% of the games? That's 7 out of 10. Is that right? Yep, 7 out of 10. So won 70% of its games. I think pretty much everything I faced today was either, if it wasn't top tier meta, it was at least, or if it wasn't like a top tier deck, it was at least some sort of a, I don't know if I guess Garbodor is kind of rogue. It wasn't themed decks or anything like that. It was either top tier or it was something consciously played with top tier in mind and not just themed decks. So some little bit better competition I guess today. So I guess it's only fair that I go 3-2, eh? On the upside, I didn't have to play the junior again. I think the junior who was the only one last weekend actually was at the one this weekend too, and there were 2 other juniors, but he beat them both, so he still got first. So I guess that justifies his automatic win the previous weekend. But anyway, so that has been it for BossGod Hammers. I'm sure we will see it again on TCGO as soon as trading comes back up, which I think is going to happen by the end of October anyway. They said mid-October, so I'll go until Halloween. Next up on the TCGN live events, we have the Boundaries Crossed pre-release coming up in last weekend of October and first weekend of November. So hopefully my D-Bro Makar we'll be able to find one and make it out to one of those. That would be sweet. Because he's starting to get into TCG as well. And at that point, I will be moving on to Blastoise Keldeo. I know it's probably going to be really, high tier. Oh, it's not Rogue. But, I don't really care about, I mean, it's nice to play Rogue, but I'll play whatever I want. It's sort of like how I play, 4th gen battles, I don't always use OUs, but when I do, I don't care. I just use whatever I want. If it happens to be OU, that's fine. If it's not OU, also fine. So that's sort of the way I feel about it in the card game, too. But, this was a fun deck. Got to use 2 of my favorite guys. Got to win 70% winning with a deck that's supposed to be bad. I mean, even though I know it's just Battle Roads, but I still think it's pretty good. Win 70% of the games with it and got a victory cup, so I definitely cannot complain. If I had wanted to win Battle Roads, I probably would have played Rayquaza Electric, and if I was a millionaire, or not millionaire, but if I had enough to afford shiny Rayquazas, I probably would have played Rayquaza Electric. But I had a great run with this. It was definitely more fun doing it with this deck than it was with Rayquaza. So which I originally said I was going to play, but I guess I didn't. So Sableye Aggron was a lot of fun to play. If you get a chance to play it, give it a try, and give Sableye Shiftry a try too, because that's probably try to add Darkrai into it though. I think it definitely would have helped out in some cases. So so yeah, Sableye plus Stage 2 ability user with Evolution Spray is a lot of fun. Go give it a try. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you for more driving in cars going to probably the Memphis Boundaries Cross pre-release. I don't know if there's going to be one here in Abilama or not, but if there is, maybe we'll go to that. I don't think I'll hit up 2. Well, I might hit up 2 for this set. I don't know. But certainly I got to save up to buy singles for Blastoise Keldeo, because there's a lot of stuff in this set that I'm going to need to grab. That'll do it. So, oh, my deck 10 almost broke today too. The hinge kind of came off, but I was able to get it back on. So, anyway, that will do it. Victini Victory Cup says bye-bye to Battle Road season. I think tomorrow is the official last day of Battle Roads, but spring or fall regionals will be coming up next, but there are none near enough. There's one in Missouri and there's one in Florida, but that's a little bit too far, and I'm not really interested in playing any more games in this format anyway. I don't want to play this deck in a top cut environment. Let me put it that way. This deck would never win best 2 of 3. Blastoise Keldeo, on the other hand, has a pretty good chance to win best 2 of 3. So thank you guys again for watching. I've rambled on for probably over 45 minutes now, at least 40 minutes, and I'll see you guys for Boundaries Cross pre-release. Later days.